Hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel. We are up in Northumberland on the beach, and as usual, yes, totally ill prepared. I thought I'd put my aerotechnium in because I did think I might hit a beach, but of course I took that out, so it's at home, not here where it should be, annoyingly. So I'm probably using an overgun reel for where I am, but I've got my T800, which should be ideal. We've got quite a nice northerly that's just come away, probably got 45 minutes, an hour of daylight. Got a very, very small tide. It must be, I think it's roughly a 2 metre, something like that. And this is a place, to be honest, where I don't usually fish, but I just fancy fishing some different areas this winter. Well, winter season. I know it's not winter yet, it's autumn obviously. But yeah, this is my first proper attempt really, when at night time anyway. It's middle of October and it's my first sort of evening session I've had. I just don't know where the season's going. I don't know where the year's gone, to be honest. Certainly not in the summer, because we haven't really had one, have we? Lucky enough to get a really good week 3 weeks ago, I think, with Gary fishing the Drumore 4-day boat camp. That was absolutely fantastic. Fishing the species comp, finally hit some good weather, but other than that, it ain't been too clever, unfortunately, but such is life in the British Isles, particularly the northeast of the British Isles. Anyway, got some absolutely cracking yellowtails from A&D. I'll show you those in a minute. So I think I'm going to get a couple of those lashed on, get a bait out there, and just see if there's anything about. It is mid-October, so there is every chance of a bass as well as a cod or codling, so that's what we're trying. I should have really been using loop rigs for this, because it's a fairly clean beach. There is the odd patch of kelp out there, but instead I've got my usual pulleys. So splashdown bead, that's a £100 rig body, trident, figure of 8, probably seen us use them, absolutely superb bits of kit. Another bead, power swivel, hook length, I think that's about £80, 4-0 Aberdeen, could probably do with a new one obviously, and a little sort of 1 or 2 crab hook just for my top pennel. So I'm going to keep the baits fairly aerodynamic to start with. I'm just going to put a couple of decent sized yellowtails on, nip the heads off, get the juice out of them, give them a slam on the beach, and what you find is that creates a bit of a muscular contraction. They'll stiffen up and you'll get a lot more life out of them. Quite a messy deal. I just tend to nip the tails off, and then you get the pair of them that kind of tighten up like that, and then just quite simply, I like to hook mine tail end first. Does it make a difference in a cod's mouth? Probably not, to be fair, but it's just the way I do it. So on there you go. They'll get your fingers lovely and yellow, which is great when you're sat at work and everyone's thinking, does that bloke not shower? Which, of course, isn't the case, because as we all know, yellowtails, and is it like an iodine, I think, that's on them? I'm sure somebody will tell us. It's a bit of a bugger to get off. So I'm just going to nick that up like so, and that's just a nice streamlined but scenty bait. I'll clip that up. I'm just going to see if I can get away. As I say, the beach is quite clean, but just as a precaution, I'm going to put a rotten bottom on anyway, basically because I'd already had one on and I can't even be bothered to take it off. because I'm in a very lazy mood. But anyway, so we'll get that hung up, get me reel lined up, and get one sent out. I'm quite looking forward to this, but at the same time I'm a little bit kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, just a little bit apprehensive, I suppose, because I've sworn to myself I'm going to try some different marks that I don't usually fish this year, and it's always that kind of like, I don't know what the word is, like slight nervousness when you kind of, the conditions are good and you know that there's other marks you could fish where there'd be fish, but then you think, no, I'm going to be disciplined and try and suss out a few places. So it's always that, like, am I wasting my time, I suppose. They're the words I'm looking for, but we'll find out soon enough. I'm going to have to remain mobile. I'm not that far from the car, so if it is not great, then we can make a fairly sharp exit. It's a lovely sea, that, mind. It's in this particular area, it's probably only 3 foot. The water's lovely and coloured. I'm not seeing any weed, which is good. Tide is coming in, but as I say, it's a tiny tide, so there shouldn't be any like massive surges of waves coming through, so we should be all right. So there's the rod, the trusty. That's probably upside down, but T800 Saragossa 10,000 SWPG. One thing I would say, one thing I would definitely would do is tighten that drag up. We are approaching 5,000 subscribers, which I've got to admit is quite unbelievable, really. I never really anticipated it. I don't know what I anticipated anyway, but I suppose all I'm saying is I'm very surprised at that, and obviously extremely grateful. So in return, I did say when we hit 4,000 subscribers that I'd do a giveaway. I gave away a pen battle, and I also said I'll up the ante, and I will, because what I've decided I'm going to do, and it'll be out of my own money, we don't get sponsored or anything like that. When we hit 5,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away one of these. So hopefully, if it's not too soon from now, whoever wins it, I'll have a little bit of an opportunity to get it used this year. Anyway, I've been waffling on you for too long. I'm going to get this out. We'll see if we can catch something. So far, I've been fishing about 15-20 minutes. Tide is coming in, but it's coming in very, very slowly, because as I say, it is small tide. So even though smaller tides, generally speaking, aren't the best for fishing, the beauty is if you're beach fishing like this, where it's a very shallow gradient, you're not having to rush back because of the surges coming up the beach. So there is that. And so far, I've only got a 5-ounce lead on. I'm not really getting pulled, and there's not any weed in the water. I did have a look at another beach a bit further south, and half of the beach was just full of weed, which is quite common on northerly, because it'll dislodge all the summer, well, back end of the summer growth anyway. As I say, we're in October now, and it'll push it to the opposite end of where it's coming from, if that makes sense. Generally speaking. So yeah, I'm just starting to feel steadily more confident. It is still quite dusky now, but another hour, let everything get dark, a bit more of this flood, and we'll see what happens. There's quite a few, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to my left, and another one guy about 100 yards away, and then a couple others further down. So yeah, we'll see. This is it with new marks, isn't it? It's just trial and error. Sometimes you hit lucky and work something out, other times you just takes a little bit of learning, but all part of the fun and games, eh? I've got to say it, glass tip on that T800 for this sort of stuff when using braid is absolutely brilliant. It's just absorbing all of the like crashes from the waves and whatever pull there is out there. It's really, really nice bit of kit to fish with. And obviously great sport if you're smooth hound fishing, for example. Right, pretty much bang on low water now. It's just gone 7 o'clock. Low water was about 5 to. It's virtually dark. There's a few headlights on the beach now. As I say, there's one guy who's pulled one in further down. It's one of those rare occasions where there's a lovely sea running and there's quite a calm high pressure system over all of the UK, so we've just got a very light westerly, probably 2-3 mile an hour, but there's a lot of like northerly cold air, so there's no wind, but it is still cold. The temperature's plummeted quite a lot since I got here, but I'm going to give this one another 5 minutes and then hopefully we'll start hitting some fish. Right, baits are coming back pretty stripped. It's 3 casts I've had where my hooks have come back bare. I'm not seeing any bites either, so there must just be crabs or whatever out there. I've had to scale up to 6-ounce sinkers because there is a bit of pull from left to right, but sometimes never a bad thing. What I am going to do now, though, I'm going to put a couple of yellows on, and I'm going to tip it off with half a crab and just see if a little bit of different sort of scent in the water makes any difference. I've been casting fairly long, but as the tide starts to flood, I might just plop it in behind the waves and see if that makes any difference. Right, we're about hour and 20 into the flood and we have not had a bite, although I'm saying that I've got a fair bit of slack line all of a sudden. Yeah. Maybe not. Yeah, I'm putting decent bait out there, yellowtails, crab, and I'm not getting anything. I haven't seen anybody else pull anything in other than that bloke earlier on down there, which was actually at about dusk. It wasn't even dark, hence the reason I could see him from about 100 yards away. But yeah, I don't know, I'm just starting to feel a little bit slightly dejected and resigning myself to the fact that it's likely that I'm going to come away from here with nothing more than a lesson, but that's the chance you take when you fish a new mark. You can't expect to just turn up and hit the jackpot straight away. But what is it, 20 past 8? I'm probably going to give it another hour, something like that. I'll have 2-3 more casts, persevere, and then just see. But right now, it ain't looking good. Right, well, this has turned into a very frustrating session. It's 10 to 9. The GoPro, as GoPros tend to do, has been very, very temperamental. I've only just managed to switch it back on. Not that it's missed much, I might add. I've literally just sent a text to a friend. I'll be honest with you, try not to swear on the channel saying this is shite, because so far it has been. Literally, no sooner had I pressed send onto that message, got a cracking bite, pulled straight over, reeling into what felt like a nice fish. Could see me line coming into the waves, must have been in 10 inches of water, bang, off it came. So, well, I'm not entirely sure how much of the last explanation I was giving you there, because of course the GoPro, being a GoPro, switched itself off and then didn't switch back on for about another 45 minutes, which is pretty much par for the course for GoPros. Can you tell I'm a bit peed off? What was I saying? Yeah, one decent bite, lost it. Literally after I just pressed send on a text to a friend saying this is absolutely shite, because it has been. I'm now the only person on the beach. Everybody else has completely disappeared. It's pitch black, and I think I've just about had enough. But I suppose you can't come to a new mark and expect to just clear up, can you? It's all a bit of a learning curve every now and again, you are. humbled with sea angling, especially when you go somewhere that you don't know. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up because inevitably the GoPro is going to switch itself off again at some point. So. Right, well, not to be defeated, I've come back up to deepest, darkest Northumberland for a little bit of a sea come away, so I'm just going to try and pull something out to save a blank. Fishing really heavy ground here, so I've actually for once come prepared. I've made up some pretty short heavy duty pulleys, and on the business end I've got 2 circles just to try and avoid the kelp. That's a 6/0 mustard fine circle and a little 1/2/0 Sakuma there, just to try and keep us away from the snags. I'm using carton, crab, and I'm just trying to have a quick couple hours after work. I nearly didn't come because I'm shattered, to be honest, but I just thought, nah, I'm going to give it a crack and see if I can pull something out. So it's not going to be an action-packed video, I'm afraid, but I'm going to do my best to at least get a fish for the camera despite the wind and stuff. So stick with us, we'll see what I can do. Well, people, we finally oops, hit the fish. Not a big fish, but fish all the same. So I'm pleased with that. I was beginning to lose hope. As I say, I've travelled a bit of a distance, and that is just nicked on that top circle. There he is. Not a big fish, but fish all the same. Pleased with that. Lovely, nice condition fish in that southeasterly. He's not deep hooked, so I'm going to get him revived. Right, well, I'm going to pack up. It's getting on a bit now. I'm getting tired. Just had the one fish, but to be honest, I just needed to come out and catch something and not a blank, and I've managed to do that, so I'm pretty happy. Get myself back down home for the long drive because I've got work tomorrow. No doubt I'm going to be wrecked, but it's what it is. That's why we do it, don't we? You know, just blind love for the sport, and why not? Anyway, appreciate it's been a bit of a haphazard video, but hopefully you've still enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching. Tight lines, hope you've been out getting a few. See you on the next one.